A very good morning and welcome to this morning edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I'm Harshni Patirana. And before we take a look at your news in detail, let's take a look at your news headlines.
News First headline.
It's the people's responsibility to support the government's program to rebuild the country's economy, says President. Claims of large outstanding taxes are an illusion. 8 Indian fishermen nabbed in Sea of Sri Lanka. In your international headlines, Russia strikes Ukraine's power grid in most massive attack of war. And in your sports sets cricket, updated fixtures revealed for Women's T20 World Cup 2024. And now let's take a look at your top story this morning. Independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe has stressed that sustaining the recovery and fostering long-term economic growth require adherence to the agreement with the International Monetary Fund. He has described it as the only viable path to overcoming the crisis.
They didn't want to be like Greece. They came to an agreement, then they had the election, then they had a referendum where 60% rejected the agreement, then the economy collapsed again, then they went back, and at the end of it, VAT, which was 13 point, became 23%. It took them 10 years to recover. I wanted the recovery to be as fast as possible, and that's what we have achieved. There are those who say we must do away with it, those who say we must change it. How do you change it? No one is going to change it because we say so. They have looked at the economy of Sri Lanka and we've agreed the path to stability. What should be done? In return, we have been given relief. I think if you look at the discussions, when you take the interest relief alone, it's about $10 billion. And it's stretched till 2042, giving us time to readjust ourselves. So all of them must agree. This is not a question of some people saying talking to the IMF. We have already passed the 4 main laws that are required. The Public Debt Management Act, the Public Finance Act, the Central Bank Act, and the Economic Transformation Act. Now, for the first time, policy is put down as a law. So you can't change it just because the minister changes or the president changes or the prime minister changes, you can't change it. You must go before parliament. And the basic principles are laid down there. So this is where we start.
And that was independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe. Into more local news, the Commissioner General of the Excise Department, that is MJ Gunasiri, dismissed claims of significant arrears in 3 major government revenue sources, namely the Inland Revenue Department, Sri Lanka Customs and the Excise Department, as myths. Now, speaking at the press briefing, he clarified that the outstanding tax amount for those 3 institutions totals only to 90 billion rupees. He also noted that it is typical for any country to have 3% to 5% of its total tax revenue in outstanding taxes. Commissioner General Gunasiri further highlighted that these 3 institutions achieved record revenue in 2023, surpassing 3 trillion rupees, and additionally, after 25 years, they succeeded in creating a surplus in the primary account. Still in local news, the Sri Lankan Navy has detained 8 Indian fishermen for illegal fishing in the Sea of Sri Lanka near Mannar. Now, along with the fishermen, a vessel was also taken into custody. The Navy has confirmed that both the fishermen and the vessel will be handed over to the Fisheries Department for further action.
International news.
Now, Now shifting our focus to the international news, Russia attacked Ukraine with more than 200 missiles and drones yesterday, killing 7 people and striking energy facilities nationwide. Kiev said, while neighboring NATO member Poland reported a drone had probably entered its airspace. Now power cuts and water supply outages were reported in many areas, including parts of Kiev, as officials said the attack, 2.5 years since the full-scale invasion, targeted power or other critical infrastructure across the country. The Air Force downed 102 out of 127 income missiles and 99 out of 109 drones. Ukrainian Air Force commander said, describing the attack from the air, ground and sea as the most massive of the war.
Sports news.
Now taking a look at your sports update. After the highly anticipated 9th edition of Women's T20 World Cup was moved from Bangladesh to the UAE, ICC have revealed the revamped fixtures of the event set to be played in Dubai and Sharjah. The groups remain the same, with 6-time champion Australia drawn alongside 2020 runners-up India, New Zealand, Pakistan and Sri Lanka in Group A of the event that will be held in October. South Africa and England are placed alongside 2016 champions West Indies, Bangladesh and Scotland in Group B. Sri Lanka and Scotland qualified for the tournament via the ICC Women's T20 World Cup qualifier tournament held in Abu Dhabi earlier this year. Each side will play 4 group matches at the tournament, with the top 2 teams from each group progressing to the semi-finals on the 17th and 18th of October, ahead of the final in Dubai on the 20th of October. Now, a reserve day has been fixed for both the semi-finals and the final. In total, there will be 23 matches played across 2 venues in Dubai and Sharjah. There will be 10 warm-up matches held prior to the tournament from the 28th of September through to the 1st of October. And with that, we wrap up this morning edition of ES 101's Visual Radio. I'm Hashni Patirana. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more of the very latest.